Hello, this is Daryl at Good Attitude Services, 10-foot truck. And I'm in my truck, but I'm not going to take the truck out probably for a while. But I've been getting calls, and the work's still there, but it's just way too snowy and icy. In fact, I've been doing Walmart deliveries with my car, which have been really good because, of course, in wintertime they're busy there. But even with the car, it has all-wheel drive, and I have Blizzak snow tires. It's still, it got pretty foggy last night, and when the fog drops, it starts getting on the ground, and it's dropping below freezing. You hit these ice patches, always sliding all over, so I had to, call it a night. And tonight may be the same thing. What happened is it warmed up a little bit above freezing. Now we're having a lot of melt. You can hear it back there, the dripping. It's melting off the roofs and stuff. Still got a significant amount of snow on the ground, but it's all plowed. All the roads are plowed, but some of the back roads, and that's why I didn't take the truck job. I was offered a pretty decent job, but when I've been doing these Walmart deliveries with the car, I'm able to access the roads because I have the all-wheel drive. So I can get on some of these roads that are just covered in snow and ice, and I can drive around on them. You just got to be careful when you're walking. It's pretty slippery, but I'm able to get into neighborhoods, and I'm looking at these neighborhoods. A lot of these side streets, and some of the ones that are up in the hills, the newer developments, they don't get regularly plowed. Most of the streets that get plowed are the main streets. The main thoroughways, those all get plowed and treated for ice. And so these back roads, so that's why I didn't take a job, because these jobs going in and picking up furniture in these back road areas, this truck would not make it. I'd have to put chains on to get in there, and then when I get out of the neighborhood, I'd take the chains off because you don't want to ruin them driving on the streets that are normal. So it would be quite a lot of work, and just not interested in having to traverse those icy, snowy roads with a truck. And it looks like it's going to be really, really cold this week. It's even going to drop. I was looking at it possibly like 10 or 9 below zero. It's going to get to zero and then get below zero, and it could go even more below zero, like 10 below zero. In that case, no, I would never take the truck out on the ice like that. Maybe not even the car. Right now, I might be able to do the car tonight, but I'm looking at all the snow melt from all that snow we got, and how it's there's getting a lot of water that's on the streets. Of course, they do de-ice it, but some of the other roads they don't, and it can be a skating rink. It can be pretty slick, so especially if it drops and there's water. So I'm going to check the roads a little bit later. I might not do it today, but the rest of the week's going to be fairly cold. But once it freezes and where it stays frozen, then they will treat all the roads pretty much, except the back roads, which you can't drive. You can drive an all-wheel drive on iced up roads like that have a lot of snow that's crunchy, because it gets grit. You get traction on that. It's just really slick when there's water, like a layer of water that just sits on the street, and then it just freezes, and then that just turns into like an ice rink, and that's where you got to be careful. But those roads that are already kind of snowy and crunchy, and that you can traverse those roads, not with the truck, but with the car, all-wheel drive. So I'm looking at an all-wheel drive van maybe for these times, because this truck, I pretty much have to park it for these periods. I'm not going to get out there, because most of my business would be side roads. If you were doing business on the main roads, delivering on all the main streets and the main highways, it'd be fine. But for me, most of my business is going to be back roads, side roads, neighborhoods, which they don't do that there in a lot of the areas here. It's too much there's too many neighborhoods that don't have those roads treated. But you can make it with an all-wheel drive or a four-wheel drive. So that's kind of where I'm at right now. I'm going to continue to do the Walmart deliveries as we have this really cold winter. Those have been pretty popular, and there's quite a bit of work, mostly in the evening, but there's work during the day too. But they pay out better than the other apps that I've been doing. So I've been doing roadie, and that's been working out pretty good for the car. So that's kind of how I'm going to work my business in this area, because when I lived in the other side of the mountains, all we dealt with was rain, and so you could drive all winter because we never got snow hardly. But here on the other side, on this side of the mountains, it's a lot of snow. We get quite a bit of snow, and so there are times I prefer to shut my truck business down and just focus on my car, so I can alternate back and forth and always have work. So I'm blessed to have those apps to do those jobs when I'm not doing the truck. And I think probably this winter, since it's been looking really, really cold and like more unusually cold and snowy compared to last winter, I'm just expecting more snow this, late December, we should get most of the snow, and early January. So I'm thinking possibly I'm gonna have to let the truck just sit here till February, maybe late January. I think sometimes late January you can start taking it out. There's not as much snow and ice. But for sure in February, the snow starts to decrease quite a bit. That's when we start going into fall, and March is just rain and stuff. So that's kind of how you run it out here. It's a little bit of a challenge, but with challenges, you learn things. I learn about like how to operate in a snow or a colder environment, and I've learned how to operate in a rainy environment before, and now it's a snowy environment. So it's just another learning experience for me, and it should work out. But yeah, it's pretty nice right now. I mean, it's like 30, maybe 35 degrees. That feels nice. I just have a flannel on and a hat, and that's it. When it starts dropping down below freezing, that's when you got to get the gloves and the big jacket and all that. But it looks like the rest of the week is going to be extremely cold. They're talking about, like I talked during the day, like in the middle of the day, it's going to be 8 degrees in a couple of days, I think on Thursday. And it's going to be like 8 degrees in the middle of the day, just walking around. And at night, it's going to be below zero. Possibly 9 degrees below zero. It changes variably. Hopefully it won't be below 0. I don't, that's a little too cold, but I know that's a possibility. Generally here it doesn't tend to get below 0, but this year that's going to. So I think last year it got 0, but getting below 0 is fairly extreme. But for this area, I guess that can happen. So I'm prepared. Get you ready. Anyway, that's it. I just wanted to check in with YouTube. I'm probably not going to do many truck videos for a while, so that's why I wanted to check in, saying I'm doing the Walmart deliveries, and those are through the apps. Mainly I'm doing roadie, and it's working out pretty good. And then I do all the other apps too. I've had quite a few junk removal opportunities come up on me, and it's just like, when am I gonna, my truck literally is parked on the snow right now, and it's building it up because of piles and stuff. So I'd have to drive over I'd have to shovel all that out, and then once I get on this road here where I live, it's pretty much iced up and snowy. They don't really it's not cleaned out enough to like the main roads. So I'd probably be slipping around, and I'm just not interested. I've done that. I had that one time happen where I slipped around and I got stuck, and I had to have tow truck guy come out. Luckily I have AAA, which is a great thing to have. The guy came out and he winched me out of the, with his, he had a flatbed. He winched me out of the ditch. I got stuck on the side. There was no way I was getting the truck out. And that was just about as much snow as I have here. And so I already experienced that twice. I got stuck. Very difficult for this truck to get out of snow. I know I've heard of techniques to do it, but, of course we have chains, but chains they're not fun to put on and take off, because you can't use them all the time. You gotta only use them in the snow, and then you gotta take them off when you're driving on the freeway. It's just too much to deal with for the money that I'm going to be bringing in for these couple jobs, because it's slow. I prefer just to take a break and work with other types of income, other types of jobs during this time, and then just when February hits, just start marketing the truck again and go that direction. The last thing I need to do is have this truck get stuck somewhere in the snow. I know the car won't. I've been in some really extreme positions in the car where I was on top of 2-3 feet of snow, like just on top of snow and ice, and I was able to get out because it has really good all-wheel drive, and I have really good snow tires, so I have no worries about that. But so I'm pretty confident with that, except for when it gets, that ice gets on the road from the water. That you have to really be careful with that. I drive very slow and careful, so so far so good. Anyway, hope everything is great out there. It's in the cold winter. Good Attitude Services, 10-foot truck, signing out.